Wake up, we're waking up with Weaver. Get up, it's time to learn some stuff. Get up, we're waking up with Weaver today. What does he have to say on waking up with Weaver? Ooh. Oh, hi. Thanks for stopping by at Waking Up with Weaver, where no matter what time of day it is, it's always a good time to learn science. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about viruses. And no, I'm not talking about the thing you get on your computer when you look at sketchy websites. We're talking biological viruses. So, as you guys started doing yesterday, we're on a new learning target, which is I can investigate how viruses affect the body. So we're going to be exploring that all this week. You got a taste of it yesterday. We started jumping into it, but today we're going to be learning more about what viruses are, how they're spread, and how they reproduce. So a crazy fact to get us started out today, there are 10 to the 31 viruses on Earth. And I wrote that number out here for you guys so you can see just how big that number is. And that's 100 million times more than the number of stars in our universe. So that brings us to our first code word of today, stars. So there's going to be 3 code words in today's episode. And if you can get all 3 of those code words, you're going to be entered into a drawing to win a $10 gift card if you can get all the code words for this week. So make sure you're paying attention to that, and we'll continue the video from there. But remember, there's 2 more code words, so make sure you're sticking around and paying attention. All right, so we're going to jump into this now. So what is a virus? A virus is a tiny infectious particle that can reproduce only, big if there, only if it's infecting a host cell. So that's important to remember. All right, so we're going to look at the size of that just right now. This is a pretty cool website that Mrs. Sully sent me. So we're starting out here, and here's like the size of a coffee bean. Here's the size of a grain of rice. We're going to keep zooming in until we can find the size of a virus. So we're going past the sesame seed, past a grain of salt. We're going amoeba, human egg, skin cells, going past the sperm, past the X chromosomes. Here we go. Past the mitochondrion. And now, if I can keep going, we start approaching where the viruses are. So these are really tiny little guys, as you can see, and now we'll go back out through this. But look just how tiny those viruses are. So that's pretty cool. And now we're back to where we started. All right, so these are really tiny. They're not considered living because they don't respire or breathe, or like I said earlier, they don't reproduce on their own. They don't have any cells, and they're made up of just DNA or RNA inside a protein shell called a capsid, all right? So here's what they look like. So we've been hearing a lot and started to learn about COVID-19, which is an enveloped type of virus. These are what most colds look like, but there's also 4 other shapes as well. So you guys can see that there. But that's just an idea of what these viruses look like. So they're tiny, microscopic, but we have an idea of what they look like. Their main job is to deliver their DNA or RNA into a host cell so that their virus can be produced, so they can reproduce inside the host cell. They're not able to reproduce on their own, which makes them not be classified as a living thing. They're only able to reproduce once they have a host cell, so that makes them a parasite. So how do viruses reproduce? All right, so I've got my popcorn ready. We're going to watch a little video here, 2-minute video, just to see how these reproduce. So I'm going to do full screen on this. Sit back, enjoy. I've got my popcorn. You can make yourself a snack too, and we'll watch this vid.
Every cell in your body is a tiny factory, constantly making proteins. Your genetic code, or DNA, directs every activity. Protein-making machinery in the cell reads the cell's own DNA and makes sure the cell proteins go where they're needed. Viruses have their own genetic code.
Dun, dun,
They don't have the
dun.
machinery to copy their DNA. So viruses need your cell's machinery to reproduce themselves. A virus starts this process by using the keys on its surface to gain entry. Like a Trojan horse, it enters the cell. The virus releases its own DNA into the unsuspecting cell and hijacks the protein-making machinery. Now, this vital cell function becomes an assembly line for new virus particles. No longer in service to your body, the cell now serves the virus, manufacturing thousands of new virus particles, which are released to enslave more cells, thousands and thousands more.
All right, so that brings us to our code word number 2 of the day, which is going to be popcorn. So our first code word was stars. Our second code word is popcorn. So make sure you're keeping note of that. Make sure you're getting all those code words for this week. So we just saw in the video how they reproduce, but there's a diagram here as well. So the viruses attach onto a cell in your body. Like it said, they're like a Trojan horse. So they fake the cell out into making them think that it's something good coming into their cell. They get entry in, and once they get inside, that capsid starts to come apart, and then you can start replicating the DNA or RNA from that virus. As it goes through that process, it starts assembling the virus to make more copies of itself, and then the cell bursts and releases more viruses out into the rest of the body to go infect other cells. So viruses can affect humans, they can affect animals, plants, bacteria, any living thing you can think of can have a virus affect it. So how do viruses spread? So first, they have to be able to get inside your body. So you guys read about this a little bit yesterday, but a couple ways they can get in there are through the respiratory passage, which are like your nose, your throat. We also read that it can come through your eyes yesterday. Also, open wounds can be another way they get in your body. So they can spread through touch, through exchanges of saliva, coughing, or sneezing. This is what we've focused on a lot with COVID-19, just making sure that you're staying away from people, keeping your distance, not sneezing, covering it up when you do that, so on. Contaminated food or water, and then also insects can be carriers of viruses as well. So here are some examples of viral diseases in humans. So in the news, as you all know right now, it's COVID-19, but there's also smallpox, the common cold, different types of flus, polio, rabies, HIV, tons of different ones that affect humans. We're blessed here in the United States where we don't have to worry about a lot of these because we have vaccinations that you can get to help prevent you getting these diseases later on in life. So there's a lot of vaccinations you have before you can start going to school, before you can go to college, different things like that. So that helps keep us safe. So there are some ways to combat viruses. The first we're going to talk about is how your body is able to fight these on their own. So the human immune system, it produces special antibodies that can bind to the viruses, making them non-infectious. So the body will send T cells to destroy the virus. And then next week, we're going to be talking about the immune system. So we'll get into that more later on. but just know that one way to fight viruses is just through your own body and your immune system. A second way is through antiviral drugs. So antibiotics don't work on viruses, but there are some antiviral drugs that do work. So these don't destroy the virus, but they can help prevent their development and then slow down the progress of the diseases that they might produce. So that's another way to combat it there. All right, and then that brings us to our last point. So the last way we're going to talk about combating viruses is through vaccination. So vaccines contain a dead or weakened version of a virus or bacteria, and these are given to you before you come into contact with that virus. That way it helps your immune system recognize and then destroy the real virus later on. So vaccines aren't just like some magical shot you get or some cure for a virus or disease. These are a way to prevent you from getting it later on down the line. So there's vaccinations that you get when you start school. There's vaccinations when you go to college or travel to different countries. So these help get your body's immune system built up to fight these later on when the real virus comes. And then a really cool fact is that in 1980, the World Health Organization declared that smallpox had been totally eliminated or eradicated from the world thanks to global vaccinations. So the last person to get smallpox was in 1977. And ever since then, there's been no more natural cases of smallpox that anyone's have gotten. So through these vaccines, we're actually able to eliminate some diseases from affecting people at all. So that is our third code word of today, which is smallpox. So make sure you've got those other two words down, and there's going to be a Google question where you're going to submit what the three words were for today. And remember, if you get all those words for this week, you'll be entered into a drawing for a $10 gift card. So make sure you're doing that, paying attention, watching these videos in their entirety each week. So to wrap today up, we're just going to be looking at what we've got to do for today. And then we'll kind of look at the rest of the week as well. So today you need to be watching the YouTube video about what we can do to protect ourselves from the coronavirus. You're going to be reading about how to protect yourself from the coronavirus from the CDC, and then also looking at the coronavirus map. So the reason we're doing this is kind of an intro for the project that we're going to be doing to end the week. So you guys are going to be making your own public service announcement about the coronavirus. You're going to be talking about what you know about viruses, what they are, how they spread, and how we can prevent them. So this lesson today is giving you an overview of what viruses are, and then you're also getting some actual real life, PSAs from different organizations. So this first one, like I said, is a video. So one of the options that you guys have for your project is to make a video PSA. So that'll give you an example of one there. I think you guys can do a lot better than the one that they put out. And then you're going to be reading just how to protect yourself, like I said, and then also investigating the map of where these global outbreaks have happened. So I'll get more into the project tomorrow in that video, but you'll be investigating another country or the United States on how many outbreaks they've had, what the death count is, that kind of stuff. So you want to familiarize yourself with these resources today. So that's all I've got for this video. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Let me know if you have any questions, or Mrs. Selly. That's all I've got. Peace.